Being a state that a lot of folks love to visit, South Carolina's cost of living is actually pretty low. And in today's video, we're going to talk about just how low. So kick your shoes off. Stay a while. Now, right out of the gate, I'm going to share a startling fact for U.S. residents. When you look at the United States as an average, again, we're just talking about averages here, the median income family cannot afford the cost of the average house. Now, that's a problem. And for this reason, South Carolina is a pretty appealing state to move to on just finances alone. This being a real estate channel, I'll share housing costs in that comparison first. Now, gathering information from a lot of different sites, I've put together my own average. This is coming from sites like bestplaces.net, amongst many other sites. And what I found is that the average house in the U.S. right now is $338,000. Now, when looking at the average cost of a house in South Carolina, we're looking at $270,000. While, of course, the average cost of a house anywhere in the country has certainly risen over the past 3 years by a lot, South Carolina tends to be on the softer side. It's really not ideal for anybody, however. So overall, that's between about a 20 to 24% lower cost of living just from a housing cost perspective in South Carolina versus the country. Next, let's talk about taxes. South Carolina is one of the lowest states when it comes to property tax. For those of you that are retired or looking to retire, Social Security retirement benefits are not taxed in South Carolina. And instead of going through every single tax in the state, just do a quick Google search and you'll see exactly what I'm talking about. To continue my point. Now, to be totally transparent, there are a couple things that South Carolina doesn't do as well as the average U.S. cost. Utilities, for example, are a little bit higher than the national average. From what I could find in my research, it's about 4% higher. Healthcare being another item that is a little bit higher than the rest of the country. Going back to a positive, another plus is that groceries tend to be about 5% lower in the state of South Carolina versus the U.S. average. And when talking about clothing, restaurants, repairs, and various forms of entertainment, and this is going to be a rough number, South Carolina is roughly 24 to 25% lower than the cost of these types of things amongst the rest of the U.S. Now, I can't talk about the cost of living without talking about jobs and job opportunities. At the time of this recording, South Carolina has a 1% lower unemployment rate than the rest of the country's average. New plants are popping up all the time across the state, providing multiple jobs, and there's still a big demand for healthcare workers. With that being said, South Carolina represents a great choice in terms of comparing the cost of living versus U.S. average wages. But I do acknowledge that no job market is perfect. And while South Carolina has seen a lot of growth in recent years, that growth will more than likely continue to raise the cost of living a bit. Time will of course tell, however. With wages growing in most fields, the relatively cheap state of South Carolina should continue to prove to be an excellent choice for a place to call home. Now, to round everything off, South Carolina has an 11% lower average when it comes to the total cost of living versus the U.S. Multiple families and individuals that I've helped this year alone moving from out of state to South Carolina have one thing in common. They were all impressed at the highly affordable cost of living compared to the state that they're coming from. These are families coming from Florida, Texas, California, Oregon, just to name a few. Heck, even families coming from the coast of South Carolina to the Upstate have stated the same thing. Now, if there's anything I can do to help make a move from out of state to South Carolina or intrastate, I would be more than happy to help. My information will be right here. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share this with anybody who you think it might be useful for. Until next time, I've been Josh Oglesby with Real Broker LLC and Upstate SC Living, reminding you to work hard, be kind, and do enjoy yourselves.